Welcome to Reaching New Heights with Troy Bell, the city manager, City of Muskegon Heights, where you get to know what you need to know so you'll be in the know. Every Wednesdays at 2 p.m. I'm sorry that I missed you the last couple of Wednesdays because once for a council meeting and the other one was out at conference, but I'm glad to be back and glad to be back in contact with the community. I want to welcome to the show today. I have two guests today. With me here in the studio, I have the famous, let's say felonious, famous Reverend Kai Guy, Pastor Kai Guy, who is our Public Works Director, Deputy Director of Utilities and Public Works. And so I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Bill.
Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, we're going to be also able to welcome to the show. Let me see if I can reach in here and do this without breaking anything. There we go. Ms. Jennifer Ross, who has been a guest also on the show previously, but joining us now in a new capacity. Welcome, Ms. Ross.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, good volume. So as the newly selected clerk of the city of Muskegon Heights, kudos.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's been a very warm welcome from the city and from the employees, and the constituents of the community. So I appreciate all the positivity coming my way.
Excellent. Well, I know you have big shoes to fill with the retirement of Ms. Sharon Gibbs. So we have big aspirations that you will transition into this role smoothly and be able to fill those big shoes.
I'm looking forward to the challenge. I have to say, other municipalities have been extremely gracious in letting me come in and pick their brains for knowledge. So I appreciate all and everyone who's reached out so far.
Well, great. And so Mr. Guy is also a previous guest on the show when he first started, right out the gate, I think it was.
First week.
Yes, the first week on the job. And so we have somebody who's new in the role coming on and somebody who's, what have we got, 3 months? 4 months. 4 months in the role. That's on board. Yes. Yeah, I'm sure you got the battle scars to prove it too. So what suggestions would you offer Ms. Ross coming in new to the city as a new city employee and a very visible and frontline role of the clerk position?
I would say listen and be patient and have tough skin. Don't take anything home. Just leave it in the office and don't take anything personal.
Yeah, very good advice. Very good advice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so coming in new to this role, Ms. Ross, what are some of the things from the outside looking in that you would see yourself being able to change moving forward or improve moving forward?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
I know it's a heavy question. Yeah. So let's back up and let's start with a smaller question. What made you decide to apply for and pursue the position of clerk at the city of Muskegon Heights?
Well, I think that's pretty easy. Anybody who knows me knows what I've done in the last couple of years. The Heights has been my focus.
Right.
I could take events and do things any place else, but I choose not to because I do have a passion for the city. I do have a dedication for the city, and I want to see it do well. So when this position became available, I applied for it just like anybody else. Got my resume together. Shout out to Precise Writings for hooking me up on that because she took all my background and put it into, not as many pages as it would have been as if I would have did it. Because a lot of people that also
down, right?
know, I'm always dual employed. So
Hmm.
um I do have a lot of experience in operations and just organizing in general.
Right.
So uh so when it became available, it was like a no-brainer for me, apply, and then, in the long term, be able to have a bigger impact on the city and just the forward motion, that in the direction that the city is going.
Right. And I think you mentioned operational experience, and there's been some
Mhm.
buzz here, there, around that, from folks that don't realize that you do. And I saw it on the resume that you submitted, but not
Mhm.
everybody has access to that. Not everybody who has access to it necessarily reads it. But
Correct.
if you can talk a little bit about some of the operational experience that you have that people otherwise might not be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in operations for, I don't know how many years. I worked in retail for probably 25 years.
Wow.
Um, yeah, prior, and learned how to bartend in that process. Well, while I was in, working in retail, but toward I would say probably the last maybe 12 to 15 years of my retail career was all in operations. So
Okay.
it was in making sure day-to-day operations run smoothly. It was in payroll. It was in scheduling. It was in hiring. It was in
Hmm.
training. So that is what my background consists of. And if people would, the interview was public. I mean, all
Right.
you had to do was watch it.
Hmm.
So you would have known that I talked about and hit all those points in the interview. So saying that, I lack experience, or I do lack experience as a clerk, but
Right.
a lot of
And
people a lot of people in that position do. It's a position where you can learn
mhm,
all the things that you need to learn. And again, I want to commend the other municipalities for reaching out
right.
and offering as much help as I need. I will say that.
And
Um,
and I'll say from my experience, in local government, and I've been in public service for 25 years. Most of the people who find themselves in the clerk role, for one reason or another, come to that role without specific experience as a clerk. Now,
yes.
they may have experience that in other areas that is transferable, but that's all what it's all about. There's no clerk school that you go to and become a clerk and get a degree in a clerk and then go
Mhm.
apply for a clerk job. That just
No.
doesn't exist. So
Mm-mm.
95% of the people are getting on the job training. And I'll tell you, I served as the clerk for the South Florida Water Management District. I knew nothing about being a clerk until I applied for and was hired for that position. And I learned
Mhm.
on the job. I mean, I had 8 million residents that I had to respond to and work with. And I was able to transition into that role and learn what I needed to do in order to be successful in that role. But the key is having the skill sets and the acumen to be able to pivot and adjust and fulfill the responsibilities of the position.
Right. And I agree with that. And also, wanting to learn more. This is going to
Right.
be an ongoing learning process. Even if I work for the city for 25 years, I'm still going to be learning new things
Hmm.
all the time. Policies and procedures are going to change.
Right.
So, that's another thing that people need to understand. This is something that you are always going to be learning something. Election
Right.
process is going to change. So,
Hmm.
you're always going to be learning. So, in the job is just learn as much as you can, learn how to do it the right way. And then that way you can teach others how to do it the right way as well.
Uh, Very well said. And I think there's a common thread here because one of the criticisms that Pastor Guy heard when he first took over his new role was, well, he doesn't have any experience in public works.
That was correct. They were right. I didn't have any experience in public works, but I had experience in people,
Hmm.
and being I needed to lead people, and that was the thing. I learned from the guys every day. They show me something every day
Hmm.
about our department. And the good thing about it is the team that I have is we kind of getting it together. They teach me something. They let me teach them, and they let me lead them. So um, that's the thing. You got to know people, and in our community, everything is relational. You if you don't build relationships, you don't move the ship around here.
Yeah.
If you don't have any relationships, you're not gonna get it. So um, I was able to go in and start building relationships. And in
Hmm.
relationships, you fight too. So
Right.
we fight a lot, and but we all right. We
Hmm.
okay. We fight a lot, but we okay. We look out for each other. So
Well, if you've ever heard of the book From Good to Great, why companies do the things that they do that make them successful, one of the important tenets of that is making sure that you have the right people on the bus. That's the
Mhm.
first thing.
yeah.
And the point that he makes in the book is that once you get the right people on the bus, you can find what seat to put them in. But the
Mhm.
biggest challenge is to get the right people on the bus. And I will say, as a leader and a manager, you're looking for the right attitude, right? You can't. There are some aspects of attitude that you cannot teach. You just have, that's the way you were raised. That's what you bring to the equation, whatever your personal experiences are, whether it be baggage or no baggage, all that determines your attitude. And that
Mhm.
attitude is something that it can't be taught in most cases. And so making sure that you have the right attitude. And then the next question is, do you have the capacity or the acumen to be able to learn what you need to learn, and be able to execute what you need to execute? And so that's when you get into the question about transferable skills. And you look at what somebody's doing and you look at it on a functional level to see what skills they need in order to be successful. Like you said, organizing. I mean, that's a huge aspect of being able to operate in the clerk position is organization. Being able to
Mhm.
organize, being able to be meticulous about tracking and recording and documenting, and that's something that you can get from multiple different career paths to this
Mhm.
point. And like you said, Pastor, knowing people, right? I mean, that's a skill. If you're good at that, you can take that into any industry and be successful, as long as
Mhm.
you have the right attitude to go along with that.
attitude.
Hmm.
Somebody wrote it. Attitude determines
Determines
your altitude.
altitude, exactly.
I was just gonna say that the great Robert Moore,
Hmm.
he used to say that all the time in when we were in band. Attitude determines altitude. So,
Altitude. There you go.
yep.
And and from what I learned from teaching, I mean, you can't know everything. I'm in a class with 20, 30, 20 somethings. And yeah, I've got years and years of experience and I'm teaching, but you can't know everything. And if you try to go in there to with and present the attitude that you know everything, you're gonna you're gonna get your what handed to
Yep, you're gonna
you.
lose.
Right?
Definitely gonna lose.
Right.
Yep.
And plus, that's not the way people like to learn, just having information thrown at them. But if it's
Mhm.
interactive and you're learning together, and that's what I love about what you said, is I don't know everything, you don't know everything, but if we're working together, we can learn together, we can grow together. It's an
Yes.
organic process, right?
Yeah.
But you got to have the right attitude. That's the key. All
Mhm.
that comes together with the right attitude. So as we move forward, I do want to hear from you, um, Madam Clerk. What are your aspirations for the city and for these what you can bring to the clerk role?
Well, I am still learning the what all the job entails. So, I think it's a little premature, I think, for me to speak on that because I'm trying to learn, what I need to know first. But in the end result, I would just love to see more production, more productivity in the city, better time management, people utilizing um, their time in the right way,
Hmm.
um, and just more focus on what works and doesn't work for our city.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's the short answer. We could revisit this, in 6 months, and then
Right.
I'll be able to give you a better a better answer to that. But
Mhm.
again, just productivity. Like, I've said it before, and been um, you know a stagnation, I would say,
Mhm.
um, in the last 15, 20 years. So just getting on board with some production, with the new homes coming, that's a productive move.
Mhm.
Hopefully new businesses moving in, that's a productive move, and all those things generate income, which has also been stagnant. So,
Right.
um, yeah,
Well,
that's the short answer. But like I said, we could visit this again in
well,
six
I
months.
like some of the things that you said in the interview process about communications,
Hmm.
and getting the word out better, posting things to through social media,
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
bu-
And
building those.
a transparency. A lot of people don't feel like there's a transparency because they can't, or they haven't been able to see the agenda before the meeting. So that's
Mhm.
another thing that I want um, to do differently, is make sure that we're posting that agenda on the website and online prior to the meeting, so that the community also has time to look at it and review it. And if they want to come to council with any questions pertaining to the agenda,
Mhm.
then they have the information that they need to do so.
And it's not just about the agenda. It's also and that's been available in varying degrees, not consistent, which I'm hoping that we can do better with that moving forward. But it's the backup material
The
that's
backup
included,
material.
right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And so I loved what you said about trying to make sure that that information is also posted on the website as well
Hmm.
as through social media. As
Yep.
frankly, we can say that things are on the website, but what would encourage a citizen to go and touch the website today? That's not relevant to most of our lives. What's on the website is typically static information, doesn't change, doesn't engage. And so we need to do a better job of making that relevant to people, to everyday life. So when
Hmm.
we do put something out there, people have they're already there, that they're not just going there for that, but they're already there for other reasons. So excellent,
Agreed.
excellent thoughts. And so coming back to you, Reverend Guy, um, so you've had 4 months in the role. What are some of the challenges that you've had to that you've faced and that you've had to figure out how to overcome um, as you've taken on the leadership role in this position?
The good thing about it is we have a good team, and
Hmm.
I can call audibles every day.
Okay.
So we can have something planned in the morning, and one of the bigger hurdles is vehicles um, and equipment. So some days we'll get to work and we'll start off with, let's say, 4 vehicles. By the time we get going, we down to one
Hmm.
because of their being old, not most people think that they weren't taken care of. They just older
Hmm.
vehicles, and I think the city did the best they could where they were at the time
Right.
to take care of them. And the guys did, but now they're just older, and it's even hard to find parts. So we have to kind of segue sometime. If we're planning on doing one thing, if a vehicle break down, we have to figure out to do something else. Um, Luckily, and that you will give me leeway to go and do things that not on the agenda sometime to go, because like one of your babies is getting downtown. Sometime we have to drop guys off downtown
Hmm.
so they can clean up, and then we pick them up and take them somewhere. We done had days where guys drove the heavy equipment to a job site. That shouldn't have to happen. But
Right.
uh, like I said, our guys, our team, they fuss about it a little bit, but for the most part, they make do with what we got. So that's one of the strong suits DPW and water that I appreciate. If I have to tell them to go different places, if something is broken and we can't do it, they don't really.
You figure out a way to get around it, right?
Every day we figure it out.
How many trucks do you currently have operating now?
Um, we have 4 operating.
Okay.
Not the best.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And varying degrees of disrepair.
yes,
Right.
yes. Some of them we can drive far.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them we can drive slow,
Mm-hmm.
but they get the job done.
Right.
So.
And I know out of the gate we had a lot of concern, and we're still getting concerned about potholes.
Okay.
So can you talk to the community, the folks that are out there listening, about some of the challenges and some of the solutions that you've worked through with regard to potholes?
Okay, so our potholes, if you'll notice, in the winter or in the colder months, we use what we call as cold patch. Cold patch really does not stay in the pothole. We did it as a quick fix to stop it, but we kind of spoke with the engineers and the people who made it. And this year we're going to try to use hot patch because we have one of our kettle trucks that can reheat the hot patch for when it gets cold. So we'll try to buy some at the end of the season and put it away and store it and then break it up. But the new truck that we have can heat it up and get it to the temperature that it needs to be. So we'll try that this winter and put it down. Now we're back to 2 kettles.
You say back to 2 kettles, so
yeah, we had 2 formerly,
right?
But one is to the point where it can't be repaired, and they wouldn't even take it
for salvage.
For salvage, they
right?
Take it. They said we can either get them to strip it all the way down, but we got one that was repaired all the way, refurbished, and then we have a brand new one. So we're in the space where we can have 2 trucks out at one time. So
2 kettle trucks.
2 kettle trucks.
Right.
We got 2 vehicles that's pulling them, and guys that can work behind.
So with the 2 that we originally had, we ended up going towards to leasing or renting one to be able to fill in the gaps because the 2 that we had were down. Right. And then you been working with the leased one, which we ultimately ended up purchasing. Right. And that's a high capacity, high functioning one that allowed us to do a lot more just with that 1 kettle than we were almost doing with the 2.
Because our kettles, I believe, were 2 ton, and now I think we got like a 4 ton. 4 ton. So and then it also saves the backs of our guys because it tilts.
It has a lift in it, right?
And so it does that. But the one we got refurbished now, we understand it a little bit more. Well, I do. The guys all knew that, but where our problem comes in now is that we don't have the attachments to the trucks, the vehicles, because we need the batteries to charge going through the vehicles. So we don't have the attachments. So when we get these new vehicles, they'll come with the new attachments. So we'll be able to keep the kettle trucks running more efficiently.
So once we had the kettles, then the challenge was the trucks to be able to pull the kettles. And so for a time being, we were down to 1 truck, and then it was none trucks.
And the 1 truck that we had to take the kettle off of it and to use it to get to different job sites.
Right.
So, but nevertheless, we used one of our resources, a local company, Economy. They put a couple of our trucks back in running condition.
Right.
So we be able to move. So.
And now the solution moving forward with our trucks and our vehicles. Talk about what the solution is moving forward.
Well, the solution is first thing we have to be prepared for winter. That's and we're in a relationship now with Enterprise, and preferably that they can deliver by December for us to have some vehicles. And if not, we got to have a second option, which is putting all of our snow plows and everything in the shop to get them running for winter, because winter's coming. And we want to be able to have our citizens to be able to get out during the winter. So that's
a focus, right?
That's one of our main focuses is making sure our community can move around in the winter. And,
so talk about what you plan to do in order to replace the existing trucks and vehicles.
With the existing trucks and vehicles, right now, the city, through the city manager, we are connected with Enterprise, and Enterprise is going to take our old vehicles for salvage and replace them with new, up-to-date vehicles so that we can move out through the city.
So I've heard some questions about Enterprise, and so I want to put that out there on the table, because most of us know about Enterprise as a rental car company. And you might ask yourself the question, well, how is Enterprise going to help us with our city-owned vehicles, with trucks and DPW trucks and the like? But what we have to realize is Enterprise has 1 million vehicles across the country, in multiple countries. In order for them to be successful in managing 1 million vehicles, you have to develop an expertise on buying vehicles, selling vehicles, and maintaining vehicles. I mean, that's their bread and butter. And so the fleet management division of Enterprise is now working with cities and local government. As a matter of fact, they won the state contract to be able to provide state pricing for the purchase of vehicles because of their credibility in managing vehicles. And so they understand how to purchase at the right time, how to sell at the right time, and how to maintain them to maximize their life throughout the period. So even the MAISD is using Enterprise as their fleet management solution. They transitioned from using sedans to using pickup trucks because they realized, based on the feedback and input and advice and consulting of Enterprise, that the pickup trucks retain their value much longer than the sedans do.
That's true.
And the difficulty, that's the difficulty with it right now. There's no pickup trucks available.
Right.
That's the difficulty because of just what you said.
They retain their value.
And which is going to be a win for the city of Muskegon Heights, being able to move in with those vehicles and then trade them out after a few years, and then get a cash back if necessary to win.
And you're reducing your gas mileage, because I'm guessing with these old vehicles that the gas mileage on these vehicles is probably 1980s, 1990s gas mileage when gas was cheap. And so
and so that's going to reduce,
because it certainly ain't
costs.
Cheap now.
No, it's going to reduce our costs. And let's look at it. It's going to also reduce our maintenance. Again, and I want everybody to understand, it is going to reduce some maintenance, but we are DPW. We drive through alleys. We go through rough terrain. Mirrors get knocked off. Lights get knocked off. We're going to have some maintenance issues. And our trucks, our vehicles going to have some dings and dents in them because that's just the nature of the business. Because
they're well loved.
We're going to clean them, but that's just the nature of the business. But they know that Enterprise knows that coming in, who we are and how we're not that we're going to deliberately try to tear anything up, but we'll still get a good a return rate on every vehicle that we keep. And then they maintain them for us. And we definitely need that because everybody knows that taking a vehicle to a shop is expensive. So with them maintaining them for us and putting us in the maintenance package is really a cost savings as well.
And I know, and I will acknowledge that Enterprise as a fleet management solution doesn't sound right. It doesn't sit right with your ears. But what we have to understand in our community, we have to be innovative. We have to find ways to be more efficient and effective because we're already operating with a limited set of resources. And so we've got to figure out how to maximize our expertise. We're working with an international company that has expertise in vehicles. And I heard it said, well, I've never heard about enterprise managing public works vehicles. Well, public works vehicles are pickup trucks, right?
Yep.
They're trailers, they are dump trucks. And this is an area that enterprise deals with on a regular basis. It might not be their number one piece of
They
business.
rent cars. That's their number one piece of
Right,
business.
right.
But we have to look at also for all of us, change is difficult.
It is.
It's,
Mhm.
Yes.
going to a place that I don't understand is even more difficult.
Right.
And so it's we're walking on a thin line with all of us because we don't know what the end road is.
Right.
And if we did, we probably would do something different anyway. But change is different. Being innovative is different. And then we always live in the past. We got to begin to live in the future.
And what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over.
Over and over again. The
And
same result.
Results.
Right.
Yep.
And so it is incumbent upon us to embrace change if we want things to get better. We can't continue to do things the way that we've been doing them before. So bringing new people in, getting new people on the bus with new perspectives and new skill sets and different skill sets is our opportunity to innovate and move ourselves forward in the future.
But that doesn't neglect or diminish the tradition. That doesn't diminish the people who've been here, who do know. You have to keep people around who know where the minds are. You have to keep the people around who know, but they have to even have an open mind to grow.
Right.
So you can't just get new people and not have any old people, and you can't just keep old people and not have any new people. You have to have a good balance to make you grow.
I want to add to Mr. Guy. Not only stick around to with their information, but be able to share their information. Be able to share what they know, and not say, well, this is like the old school. Well, I had to get it out the mud, so you get it out the mud too. Like that's, to me, that's a negative mindset. Like I have never been like that. If I know something and somebody wants some knowledge from me, I'm gonna give it to them. And that's just a way to keep things going and flowing.
Well, that's the thing. What you said earlier, you want to learn it to be able to teach it. If you can't teach it, you didn't learn it.
Right.
And but here's the next thing though, Ms. Ross, you said that you had an open mind to learn. So a lot of times, and I'm finding right here, even sometime in my own department, is that there's availability to teach things, but the learner don't want to learn. So you can't get mad at the teacher if the teacher is willing to teach you and you don't want to learn. And then some things after the teacher teach me, I have to figure it out. And that's one of the bigger things that I've seen even in our department. We got some teachers, but everybody don't want to learn. Then we have some learners and that everybody don't want to teach. So we got a gap.
We got a gap.
We got a gap, and there's a problem. But if we're gonna be effective, and we got to be able to teach everybody, and everybody got to be able to learn.
Right.
And
Right. Well, I do want to celebrate the successes because oftentimes we get caught up in focusing on some of the deficiencies and the challenge, and we don't take time out to celebrate the successes. And this past week, we had the festival in the park, right? And the festival in the park, a lot of folks were nervous about how that was going to work out. It's been canceled for the last 2 years because of COVID. There were some question marks about safety and security and the like. And I want to give kudos to Mimi Rinkin and her team and putting together a fantastic week of events. This is my first festival in the park, and I got a chance to get out there and enjoy it. My kids, my wife came out and enjoyed it. It was an awesome and excellent event, and it was a shining star for the city of Muskegon Heights. And
Yeah.
I know, Jennifer, you had a role in the festival in the park. What part did you?
Just a very small role, just coordinating some of the vendors. Mimi asked me to just utilize my resources and add some more vendors to the event. So it was a very small role. I don't want to take nothing away from nobody. Mimi and the team did their thing.
They did their
Um,
thing. That's right.
they did their thing, and unfortunately I'm still working another job too at the moment, so I wasn't able to attend, but I heard nothing but positive feedback.
So
um
you missed the parade then, huh?
I did miss the parade that they said was the longest parade that they have seen
Right.
in quite some time. I did see videos. I saw the band, which I was so happy to see. Coming back to the
Bam was
parade.
getting
That was
down.
yeah.
Hmm.
So, and just all the participants and all the candidates who were in the parade and got a chance to
Right.
get out and get in the community that they are looking for support from. So, um, yeah, I saw videos. I mean, everybody's on social media, so I saw all kinds of videos all weekend, but unfortunately was just not able to attend. So
Well, I
sad
will say
about
that
that, but it'll be on my calendar for next year for sure.
that was the first. Well, I shouldn't say the first. That's the first parade that I've been in since high school homecoming.
That's
Oh,
50 years
I'm
ago, right?
saying that was a minute ago. So it was it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we it's been a while. We had electricity back then,
Oh,
but
you
it was, yeah,
how many years older you than I am?
yeah, it was a little while ago.
Fred
So,
and Barney.
but I will say it was a lot of fun for those people who were in the parade. I got a chance to break out my baby for the first time, the motorcycle.
You've been talking about
uh-oh.
Yeah, yep. Get that out in the parade. So I'm sorry you missed it. You didn't get a chance to see it. So I have to get you out there on another occasion. But just the sense of community and the camaraderie and the look on the kids' faces. The little kids out there and watching the parade go by and waving and throwing candy out there and just watching the light in their faces was
Yeah.
worth the whole thing. It
Yeah.
was an amazing experience, and hopefully we will continue to grow with that in the future and make it even larger every year. So, and I want to give credit to all the city employees that participated. The police department did a knockout job, fantastic. The fire department was right there too, and responded in the middle of the parade, as a matter of fact. So they were on it, and the work of public works. So your guys were out there too.
my guys. You know, my guys were led. I was out of town, so Andy, our foreman,
Hmm.
Andy Clements, he led our guys, and we had some special tutelage during this season
Hmm.
too. Mr. Gardner,
Yeah.
who formerly worked for us, he took them and
Hmm.
showed them some things doing that. He showed us all some stuff, and
Right.
he taught me some of the words to say to him, but I can't say on the air. But
He had 40 years of experience with the city, so
yeah,
I know that was words of wisdom.
yeah, he shared some stuff. And so,
Hmm.
like I said, I was out of town and they took care of it. So, I feel good
Hmm.
about that because you don't have to be around all the time and they can handle it. So
Right.
I really felt good about that.
Well, I think the community owes everybody a round of applause,
Yeah, let's get it.
for each other and for the citizens,
Yep.
um, for the events that we've had. As much as people want to focus on the negative, I want us to keep looking forward. Not to say that we can't learn from what's behind us, what's in the rear view mirror, but we have a bright horizon and future in front of us. And we need to focus on how we can make sure that we solve problems, that we overcome challenges, that we keep moving forward. that African proverb about looking backwards but facing forwards. You learn from history, but your focus
Hmm.
is on how you move forward. So I see, in the next 3 years that this is going to be um, huge, huge. The events, the people, the town. Um, the future. I can't even put it into words. The vision that we have, and I'll share with the community. We're in the process of being certified as a redevelopment ready city. And what does that mean? That means that we have processes, procedures, collateral in place that the state looks at and then says, okay, this community has done what it needs to do in order to be ready for redevelopment. And because we're ready for redevelopment and we're at the last stage, we had the state come in last week and do a review, and there's 2 or 3 things left before we get our certification. But once we get the certification, that makes us eligible for additional funding, loans, and grants.
That's good.
So money is the engine of change, and if you've heard that, and so that makes us eligible to be able to not. I mean, and we've been doing pretty good as it is. I mean, we're close to $20 million worth of grants over the last 2 years, which is huge for a community of our size. But this should open up the floodgates. And I will say even more so because the folks that came from the state went out and took a tour of, after they checked our certification status, followed me out to Mona Lake. And they got out there to Mona Lake, and you should have seen the big eyes. Is this part of Muskegon Heights? Yes, this is the lake that's in the Parks and Rec plan that was talked about in the vision plan. And we went up to the top floor of the pavilion, and the guy from the state got on the phone and started texting his boss, and he said, this is an amazing opportunity for the Michigan Economic Development, MEDC, to make this a major project for the restoration of our community as a catalyst. Now, these are folks from the state that they go all over the state and they see all kinds of things all over the state. But when they got to Mona Lake Park and saw the pavilion, it was on for them. And so that says to me what we've been talking about for the last 3 to 5 years about the value of our community and the opportunities that are there associated with what we have. Other people see it as well. But we've got to be in a position to open it up and introduce it to them in such a way that we can garner the dollars and cents that we need in order to make it happen.
That's good.
Yeah.
So the work that you're doing in public works, and you said it, that my thing about being out there on Broadway.
That's your thing.
Yeah, every morning at 7:30, making sure that Broadway is clean. And I know it's a tedious, dogged task to be out there cleaning up trash every morning at 7:30. But that means that when people come through, like we did with the state folks, and they see
It's clean and looking good.
clean and looking good, and the only thing that we're missing is the financing to make it happen. And so that's the argument. The work that you're engaging in, coming into this new position as the clerk, that's an opportunity of aspiration. That's why I was asking, because now we are in a position to take what we've been doing with Ms. Gibbs and take that to the next level. You're going to be in a position to build, to stand on her shoulders, in the 20 some odd years, 22 some odd years of her work at the city, and stand on those shoulders and take it to the next level. And so um, I get goosebumps when I think about the potential of our community and where we can go in a short period of time.
Right.
Vision.
Yeah. I was going to say, everybody talks about what it once was, and we all, but we want to make it better than what it once was.
Hmm. Right.
So that should be the end result, better than it once was. And
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, like I said, learning as much as I can. Hopefully being able to, learn how to write grants so we can bring in another person, at City Hall that knows how to write grants would be phenomenal.
Right.
And just a great addition. So I'm
And
looking forward to it. I am happy about it. I'm eager to come in every day and learn something new. I'm eager to talk to people from different municipalities and see what they're doing, because we've seen the growth around us. So, we just need to focus on getting that growth to come to us too as well.
See, I'm a Bible guy. So the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. So
You make it plain.
Those that can run with it therein for its appointed time. The Lord doesn't need to give us any money if we ain't got no vision.
Right.
You don't need. He don't need to provide if you don't have no productivity. So the Lord, we got to provide the vision. He'll provide the money, and we got to be productive and do what we need to do, and we'll get everything we need. We just got to write the vision, and then we got to read it and run with it.
And to the point that you just made, what I wanted to mention about that vision, the vision plan, Reaching New Heights, that the DDA and the Greater Muskegon Area Economic Development put together, has been the platform by which we've been able to garner multiple grants. The first grant was that we used this vision to go after was the industrial park grant, and that's $100,000 plus grant to be able to redesign the planning of our industrial areas, the west side and the east side, and begin marketing that for industrial customers, commercial customers, manufacturing to come in, and that's a huge platform, a launching pad. The second grant that we received using that vision plan, like you said, was $100,000 to be able to do the redesign of our downtown area, specifically Rowan Park, the Strand Building, Center Street, that whole downtown corridor from Peck to Baker along Broadway. So that's part and parcel because of the vision plan. And then just recently, last week, if you hadn't heard it, it was announced that Consumers Energy awarded us well, let me back up because I was told not to say that, $250,000. Sounds a lot better when you say $250,000 than 250, right? $250,000 grant to fund the remaking of Rowan Park and engaging that space to make it a destination space in our community. And so these are all coming, like you said so astutely, from laying out a vision, putting it on paper, articulating it, illustrating it, and providing. And the value of that comes from the fact that it came from community input, community involvement, grassroots engagement from all sectors of our community to get behind that common vision. And now we can run with it, right? And the money is coming as a result of that. And we're waiting for our legislators to come through with the $8 million grant for Broadway. And that would be the icing on the cake to be able to redo Broadway, redo the streetscapes, the facades. And with Rowan Park as the destination, that's going to bring the businesses and bring us back to life like that. And so that's all exciting stuff. Right now, and we've been talking about it in past shows about the demolition and new development on the corner of Peck and Sherman. And we're right on the edge of August. And as God is my witness, I'm excited to see in August the demolition of this property. We've got, we're on the verge.
They've been working. They've been marking the building. And so, it's definitely.
You might not see it driving by, but there's some changes going on, right?
Oh, yeah. I paid attention to it, yeah.
And so when that kicks off and we've got new houses, it's been a long time waiting. Originally, we thought it was March and April, and then it was going to be June and July. And now I'm being told that in August, we're going to be breaking ground on these new houses.
Yep. So we need that. I believe once one house is built, the rest of them will start.
They're going to come.
They'll come. We just gotta get the shovel in the ground.
Yeah, it's breaking the seal, right? Once you break the seal,
it's going. It's just like you got $100 bill. Once you pop it for $1, it's gone. You don't see it again.
Right. It transforms. Into
somebody else's pocket.
Right. And so it is all exciting, and I commend the community for being patient. It's been a long haul. You know, we haven't built a new house in 17 years, 18 years now. So it's been a long time waiting. As one of the candidates said, it's the time is now.
Mm-hmm.
The time is now, and we're right on the verge of it. So I appreciate the tolerance and the patience of the community, and waiting and being patient to the moment hits.
That's funny. I posted that this morning. Be patient.
Is that right?
Be
Well, that's
patient.
confirmation
Yeah.
in the spirit,
You know,
right?
I posted that this morning because we're no longer, but patience
Mhm.
brings love.
Hmm.
And you know, patience got to have this perfect work, but we have to be patient, you know,
Right.
and the world right now is just so impatient.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to circle back and say this because there was a comment up there I think is a very good comment. We're talking about a lot of things in the development area, houses, investment in downtown parks, building new buildings. But at the same time, we need to come alongside that with interpersonal infrastructure, as I call it, of working together, collaborating. We need to rebuild our committee structure. I would love to be able to have an input committee for input from the community and public works, a committee that provides input on our parks, you know, and that's
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity for more people to get engaged and get involved, and to, like you said, the need for transparency. Well, the best transparency is if you're involved, right? If you're in the middle of
Right.
what's happening, you see it. And so we need to
Yeah.
open up the doors to get more people involved on the committees, council committees, community committees. And to that end, I met with a young lady today that has done citizens academies, and you may have heard me talking about the idea of doing a citizen academy. She's done it in East Lansing. She's done it in a number of places here in Michigan. And so we are in conversations about putting together a citizens academy here, to kind of take people through, you know, all the departments at City Hall, all the departments that are part of our organization, take them through the budget process, help folks to understand the decision making process around revenues and expenditures, those kinds of things. Help them to understand the value and purpose of each of the committees. You know, what is your function? How does that fit together with what the other committees are doing? How does that fit together with what the difficult work that the council has to do every day? And so that we see the connectivity between the value that we bring as members of the community and what other members of the community are doing together. So I think
Right.
the point she made, and you were with me when we were having that conversation, is that in the citizens academies that she's done, every single council member that was on her council had previously gone through the citizens academy, and as
Mm-hmm.
a result of that experience, we're inspired to run, but we're inspired to run and we're educated about all of the details
Yes.
uh, that go on. And so, I mean, we've got longstanding council persons now, and they're very knowledgeable. But what I want to try to do is provide a pool of people in addition to our council members that can then participate in committees and activities of leadership from an informed perspective. And so that's the goal, to bring alongside these development opportunities, the interpersonal infrastructure, to be able to take advantage, best advantage, and maximize those opportunities for our community. So
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
excited that did you want to add anything, Ms. Ross, on that? No.
No, I just was excited by when she mentioned that this morning. I was like, yeah, this is because a lot of people, they come, but they just don't understand
Hmm.
the inner workings of government. There are certain procedures, there are certain practices. And so I think that would be a phenomenal thing to bring, for those citizens who attend, especially the ones that attend meetings regularly, but they don't always seem to
Have,
understand,
hmm
um, what's going on. So I think that would be phenomenal, and hopefully something that we could work toward in the next 12 months to be able to
right.
provide for our citizens.
And quite frankly, it's something that I've spoken with Judge Pittman about. It's something that he's interested in collaborating on, and so I'm excited to be able to get her together with Judge Pittman so that we can put together this academy and have everything moving forward. So
When does it begin? Try to do it.
well, I've got to continue the conversations with the lady from East Lansing, who was also at the State Board of Elections for many years, to see what her timeline is. But I would love to be able to do it, kick something off in 90 days.
Okay.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's
yeah,
ambitious.
yeah, I know it's ambitious, and it might take a little bit longer, but that's you got to have
Point.
exactly, yes. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Pastor Guy and Ms. Ross, for joining the show and spending time with the community and sharing with us where we're moving and where we're going and how we're getting there and some of the challenges that we've had on the way. So with
Yes.
that, I'm going to wrap up because I want to make sure that we finish on time because I know there's another show waiting after us. And I want to thank those people who tuned in. Thank you, Ms. Aubrey, for your comments and points. I appreciate you always being a focused listener to the show. And I look forward to next Wednesday and getting together and reaching new heights with Troy Bell, the city manager, city of Muskegon Heights. Kudos and thanks to the mayor and the council for the opportunity to be here and share. Because it's important that you get the information that you need to know, and so you'll be in the know. And that's what this show is all about.